So welcome to all those gathered here today. And I'm absolutely delighted to say that our three newest members are actually here. So thank you, Carlos and Odette and Natalia. Have I said that right way, Natalia? Is it
Yes,
Natalia?
Natalie in French.
Natalie, okay. And the common language we conduct this meeting is in English, and I know that there are different languages here, so I'm grateful to be able to speak in English. As you might know, and I think I did tell you, Odette, I have got my book translated into French, although I don't speak French. And my dream is that we could translate the power of authentic harmony into many, many languages, even if we don't actually speak those languages, so that we can share the principles around the world. I am hoping that a few more will turn up. I did a lot of work sending messages out to everybody. And it is one of the challenges is how to bring everybody together because of time zones. So my morning is 9 a.m. here. I could start earlier because one of the time zones I never managed to get in is our Manila chair, and also we have one in Bangladesh and India. So sometimes we may have to vary the time zones and work around that. But I am thrilled to have our new members here. So Clara and Carmen, you, along with me, welcome these amazing new members. Carlos is here to be on the advisory council. So he's available to all of us for his wisdom. And I'll invite you to just say a few words in a minute, Carlos. And Odette, I had the pleasure of meeting personally and dancing with her in Las Vegas last year. We were at a conference together. So we bonded literally in person, which was wonderful. And she'll introduce herself. And Natalia, we haven't met, but we have had a Zoom conference, and I'm delighted to say I believe you are the youngest member of our wing. So you bring with you the freshness of youth. Not that any of you are as old as me. I think I'm the oldest person in the whole group. But then we have a wonderful stretch from, I think you told me you were 30. Is that right, Natalie?
Yes, yes.
And I will be 76 in May. So we have a good full spectrum of decades to share across the world. And I'm very passionate about authentic harmony and positive masculinity, obviously, but also across these different divides between younger generations and older generations, between different nations and different views of the world. I think that it's wonderful. So as there's a few of us here, I would invite you to just do a very, very brief introduction and maybe just your thoughts as to what you feel authentic harmony and positive masculinity may bring to you. Would you like to start, Carlos, as the only man
I
in the
think
room?
I will give way to the younger generation.
Okay.
Natalie, s'il vous plaît.
Well, maybe then
Oh.
I'll ask our residents here, Carmen and Clara, should you introduce yourself to our newcomers, and then we'll invite our newcomers. So just very briefly, a couple of sentences, who you are and why you love being in this group. I'm going to ask Carmen first.
I'll get us going. So my name is Carmen Scott, and the thing I love about being in this group is I feel like these conversations are creating and contributing energy to the world that we do want to see and the relationships that we would like to cultivate and create as a species, honoring all, you know, all gender expressions, the masculine and the feminine, not just about man and woman, and honoring everybody and creating unity and peace. And that is what harmony means to me. And I love getting to participate in forward-thinking, solution-oriented conversations, because this practice leads into all areas of our lives. And I know this is supposed to be brief, but language is what sets us apart as human beings, as sentient creatures, is our language. So the forward-thinking, solution-oriented conversations are very powerful.
Thank you, Carmen. Thank you. Clara, a quick.
Yeah,
quick
hi everybody. So I'm Clara Goody. I'm based in the UK. I'm loving being part of this group because I realize the value of communicating well and finding common denominators in all social groups, whether that's the work environment, the family environment, etc., etc. And I feel like there's been a big gap between feminine and masculine. And as women have become more emancipated, the value that they bring into the world, I think, is ever increasingly obvious. And I feel like we need to have, as Carmen said, that common denominator that unites us all irrespective of our gender, but also to see the world through the feminine lens, which we haven't really fully understood. And actually now, as women have become more emancipated, and I'm seeing this in the UK, where we've been, you know, leaders with feminine emancipation, the gaps now, the experiences are becoming very clear as to what we need to change. So I think these conversations that we're having are really great for leading the way forwards in a global community. And the biggest thing that I'm seeing is peace talks. There are not enough women. And I think women contribute very valuable perspective, and they bring the family perspective, the family dynamic into play, which, you know, sometimes in the world where it becomes about posturing and power and all these key words, people forget very often the very value and the basics of human beingness. So I think that's why I love these conversations, because as Carmen says, we take them out into the world and we create a ripple effect, and we're doing it globally. We've got how many countries now? Pauline, is it 15, 16?
20
So we've got, so
We've
now we're up to 20 countries. So we're having these 20 conversations, and they're all contributing to the way we think, the way we help shape the way forward. And, you know, never forget what a few people can do to change the world. So that's why I love being part of the group. And I'm here in for the long haul.
Thank you. Yeah, there's 20 chairs, country chairs. There's 7 regional chairs, because
Brilliant.
in America, because America is so big, Carmen is one of those, and with 3 wise men. So may I invite Natalie? Natalia, would you like to share your thoughts? And you've just recently come to us via Dr. Habeen, so tell us why you feel drawn to be here. You're on mute.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am Natalie Lompo from Burkina Faso. I'm glad to be a part of this group. What am I glad? What am I decide to join this group is, first of all, I want to I see another perspective for our world. We need to communicate. Men and women need to communicate more. We need to educate the future generation. We need to change the paradigm of the dynamic of the world we are into nowadays. And for that, positive masculinity can bring a lot of change. Because lot of women are the one even who are perpetrating the patriarchy, if I can say it. So we need to to build a better world, we need both women and men to be agreed, not to fight each other, not women being in a one part and fighting for woman right, for emancipation, and then men be in another side fighting for patriarchy. All of that, we need to change all of that. We need to start in a new perspective to change our approach of communication. Is what I am here to learn. As a woman who is working in a male-dominating field, I think it will help me. I'm here to learn also, to learn to escalate to share my learning with other, to share my learning with other, to escalate the learning, to change the perspective in Burkina. And
Thank
also to make new friends from around the
Amazing friends. Thank you. And I do appreciate the language, because you are French speaking. That's right, in Burkina Faso. Okay, so Odette, you're on mute.
I'm on mute. Okay.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Nice to see everyone's face, and I'm happy to be here. Sorry, I have a cold, so forgive my sniffle every now and then. So I'm Odette Shirley. I am from the Ivory Coast, with nearly 3 decades of experience in the United States. I'm a seasoned entrepreneur, business leader, and my goal is that I'm committed to empowering women to realize their full potential and thrive as leaders, innovators, and change makers. So throughout my career, I have championed innovation, strategic growth, and sustainable success with strong focus on creating opportunity for women in business. So I recently moved back to the Ivory Coast to leverage my international expertise to drive local and regional development. Like I said earlier, foster innovation and amplify the impact of women entrepreneurs. So as CEO of VIP Social Côte d'Ivoire and Terra Nova Group Côte d'Ivoire, I am dedicated to inspire change, lead by example, and build a future where women are part of the conversation and at the forefront of economic transformation. So I think that it's only fitting for me to be part of this group where those things are celebrated and, also meet new people and new women and create that network of strong leaders.
Thank you. And we welcome you. We're absolutely delighted to have you with us. And I know when we met at the conference in Las Vegas, you were sharing that you have quite a sizable network of entrepreneurial women in
Yes.
Côte d'Ivoire. And I was very blessed to be up in New York in March, and I met several people from Côte d'Ivoire. I've just sent a connection to you, Odette, about that,
Okay.
and on
Okay.
email.
I'll check on that.
But yeah, it was amazing to be there with. I was there with Dr. Jibril Diallo and the Red Card campaign, which I will explain a little bit more about. But welcome to Dr. Maureen, who's just arrived, and Dr. Maureen is our USA chair, so she has a very large domain because the USA is so big. And would you like me to introduce Dr. Maureen before you speak, Carlos? You would like still, or would you
yes,
like
please. Yes, do a nice welcome, please.
Okay, I was just asking everybody to introduce themselves very briefly, Maureen, and Carlos wanted to go last. So I thought maybe you could give us just a very short couple of lines about why you like being part of this wing and the intentional, authentic harmony and positive masculinity.
When I first heard you mention about the vision for positive masculinity and authentic harmony. I just thought that there is such a perfect alignment between the ability to be able to have a world of harmony that is set forth by women and men, and not men alone and not women alone. Because of my faith is that we were created to collaborate in order to take dominion over this earth and to do all the things we do. And without the women's voices, we have only a part of the equation. And that harmony that we are focusing on is so important. It's not a question of women taking over or men continuing to lead without our voices. I think we're doing ourselves a disservice if we don't have all the voices. And that's what caused me to be a part of this movement.
Thank you, Maureen. So Carlos, you've met some of our beautiful
Yes, well,
ladies. Please share.
I am honored to be in the company of such wonderful women. My kind of take on this very simple. I come from mom, so very simple for me. Respect for my mother is respect for women. So all my life I've dedicated to unite people at all levels, and I think the system is a system of disempowering, not just women. If you think that men are empowered, it's not. Men are completely disempowered. Only some few people supposed to be empowered, but they live in fear. They live in fear of losing their power. And we live in fear of also in terms of how we can exercise our own, as people say, our full potential. So I've dedicated all my life to unite people. So I have developed all my own scientific work based on conscious transformation. So from this perspective, I work a lot on consciousness, and I think authenticity is really related to high level of consciousness. I also, in terms of communication, I develop a theory. It's called human conductivity because, as Carmen mentioned, we are conductor of energy. Men and women are conductor of energy, but it's the frequencies and the vibrations and the entanglement that make men to be very much involved in fractionalism and separation and reductionism of them as such. So I'm just very happy to be here. I've done nearly 20 years of scientific research, so I develop three main contributions to science. One is called New Science. The other is called Systema Sapien, not Homo Sapien, but Systema Sapien, which I didn't talk too much with Pauline last time. Systema Sapien intertwine and entangle the inner microcosmos of a human being with the outer macrocosmos of the universe. So I take on all the internal systems which are connected and intertwined, inseparable with the outer cosmology. So I work a lot on ancient cosmology and intertwine that with the emerging new science of the 21st century. On human conductivity is about listening from within and then from without. So it's all about the energy. I call it energy is emotion. It means flow of energy. So an emotion is a flow of energy. So I use new languages as well as I was sharing with Pauline. So for example, collaboration, I split the word in co-labor action. So this is for me will be laboring together to take action, to be authentic, and to seek harmony between ourselves. That's it. I think I would like to be very short.
Thank you. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, everybody. Carlos and I had a lovely conversation yesterday, and one of the words that really resonated with me was entanglement. And I think there's a lot of entanglement at the moment in the world where we get very tangled up in relationships and conversations, and dare I say, things that are going on at a bigger level. It's very entangled. Would you agree? There's, we get caught up. And I was imagining if you throw a net into the sea to capture the fish, but the net gets mangled up or something gets caught in the net or the net doesn't land right, we then get this very entangled thing going on around us. And with harmony, we want to untangle that, but then make sure that all the threads work together, almost like the tapestry of life. How do we actually blend all those wonderful conversations away from the negative ones? There's a huge amount going on in the world that we think about probably all the time, these emotions. So one of the things I wanted to just do briefly was to share just a couple of slides, an illustration, and then talk to you all about how we take some action to engage our group more. As I said, we've got 20 country chairs. We've got 7, I believe we've got 7 regional chairs in America. We've got 3 wise men. So in total, we're coming up 27, 30 people. And yet there's only 7 of us here. I know there's always time zone problems, there's commitments, we're all busy. But I've had a couple of months not being around for all of you because I've been moving house. But I did go up to America, I did go up to New York and get involved in the United Nations. And I'm really committed to engaging all of us in the best possible way for our best talents, because we've each got remarkable gifts that we can bring to the world. And so I want to just review a couple of things on some pictures and also talk about how we take action to get our words, our thoughts, and our mission out there to co-create a authentically harmonious joint custody world. And I'll share with you some of the things that are going on around the world. Let me just show you here. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. I put this illustration together. I wondered how you all felt. I did it with AI. I didn't create it myself, but something about what does a joint custody world look like? What does an authentic harmony world look like? It impacts business, it impacts communities, it impacts families, it impacts different cultures around the world. I do a lot of work, as many of you do, with female entrepreneurs. And one of the things I was doing up in New York was talking about how do we leverage female entrepreneurs, not to the exclusion of male entrepreneurs, but to really highlight how female entrepreneurs deal with both business and life and family and community, because women tend to think about these things automatically together. So this is what came out when I was using AI. So I want to just to create something which we can start visualizing. I'm doing some work in Tanzania at the moment with Nima, who's one of our country chairs, who I hope will pop in. I'm doing work in Ghana. I'm hoping to do work with you, Odette, in Côte d'Ivoire, and with Burkina Faso, anywhere that we can, in England with Clara. How do we bring these things together? And we do have a country chair for Chile. So she's not here today, but we'll make sure we connect you, Carlos. Let's make deeper connections across the world and understand what this means. My friend Nima in Tanzania was particularly taken with the joint custody world idea. And this is a sentiment that is represented in the G100 El manifesto. And if you haven't read that yet, I will encourage you to do so, and I will post it up again on the WhatsApp. It's a 10 by 10 statement, i.e. there's 10 chapters and 10 points in each chapter. And in the last chapter, which is the E of Eligosi, which is an acronym, that is for equality. And there's a statement in there which comes from our wing, which is exactly this: creating an authentic, harmonious joint custody world where there is gender equality, there is harmony, there is more conversations. And we're delighted to have the three of you newcomers here and make sure that you connect with each of these people are from our current members. We're absolutely delighted to have you all. And as I say, I think, Natalie, you are our youngest and I'm our oldest. I'm very passionate about intergenerational wisdom. This is just a quick display of what I did in New York. And what was interesting here, I was representing an organization called the World Union of Small and Medium Enterprise, but I also met up with many G100 global chairs and global regions. And I was absolutely delighted at the energy. And in a minute, I'm going to explain some of the advantages that G100 is bringing us with a website called the She Economy. But what was interesting here was we had multiple languages, multiple nations. There was a lady from San Marino, Barbara, she runs the World Union of Small and Medium Enterprise. There was Margot from Hungary, who runs the Hungarian Union of Women Farmers. And there was Gracia and Charlene from the Women Entrepreneur Platform, which is based in Brussels. So highly international and very, very forward thinking. And it was all about STEM. But in real terms, it was all about how do we release women to be more? How do we give them financial freedom? How do we help them be more innovative? How do we help them stand up and be counted for the real things that they do and to be authentically validated, which is something I'm totally committed to. I really want to make sure that we understand that around the world. Now, we didn't actually do this event, but this is what we spoke about meeting before last. My life was disturbed by moving house, so I didn't get to be with you all in March. But what we were talking about, and Clara was going to help me organize this, what can we do that we can set out and present ourselves to the world? I've got to know a lot more G100 global chairs, and they are some very, very powerful women out there. So the idea here was that we would create some kind of online event, and we would have some of us speaking, making sure that we got our messages honed. And this was just a broad overview that the power of authentic harmony in a world where joint custody is not just a legal arrangement, but a harmonious lifestyle. Women lead with empathy, wisdom, and collaboration to create a balanced environment that benefits everybody. Now, we need to work on this a bit more for different parts of the world. So I want to suggest that we break this up into a UK, Europe, possibly Africa, and then USA, South America, and then Asia. And we can maybe have 4 different events and meet on each one, but take a lead from those areas. So when I come off this, we'll discuss that. I'm going to send you this. I'm not going to read it, but this is just a very brief overview of what I think we can look at. And what I want to invite you to do is to take this, I'm going to send it to each of you, and develop what you think is your narrative to this. Okay. Essentially, we are creating a joint custody world. What does that mean to people? Where women empower men to value life together. This is just an overview. I would like you to all read my book in terms of the content and the philosophy. So if you haven't, please remind me to send you a PDF of it, because the principles in there for me are what drive the conversation. It doesn't mean it's static, it doesn't mean it's controlled, but it's a starting point. So to remind you, a magical conversation is one without judgment, without control, without ferocious anger, which we see a lot in the world. So it's empowering in our different areas, ways of standing up for some very strong views, but doing it in a way that allows people to share their perspective. And this is a program that I'm running, and I'm going to invite you all to think about joining this. I will send you all some details rather than go through it now, but this is a 6-week program which would certify you in the conversation that I use with my gender dynamics intelligence. What's really important is that we understand we are out here to educate in a broad sense, not be teachers, but to share this language. And you know that I'm very passionate about this. So I really want us to do it maybe in play. I know Carmen and I have spoken about, creating play, creating experiences, getting conversations going. Now that I've moved house, I'm really now ready to make that happen and do it on a regular basis. So we're out there representing G100 with our wing, because I've been making a lot of noise in the G100 network outside of our wing, and people are starting to see this. And in a minute, I'm going to show you a way that we can actually do that. My passion is a life track of learning. Start with kids that are really small, make sure the teens understand they can think for themselves, really get them into conversation. They don't all need to be entrepreneurs, but they need to be wise to the idea that boys and girls, men and women, masculine and feminine come together to create this world. If the idea of my PhD appeals to you, I would love to have a private conversation about that. But essentially, it's about what we know, what we do, and what we can create by being more outspoken and out there. One of the things I was looking at is we now have some really amazing connections in Africa. I was hoping Nima would be here today, but we do have somebody in Ghana, somebody in Kenya, South Africa, Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, DRC, Tanzania, and that potentially there's potentially a time zone African event. With the UK and Europe, Clara, that's really yourself, but also Diane Monique, who's our French chair, and also Yu, who's in England, and Agatha, who's in Poland. And the other thing is thinking about what other countries can we engage. So there's a lot of space for creating other country chairs. I mean, Ireland, obviously, Wales, Scotland, if you want to, we've got Annette in Germany, which is fantastic. And Annette was the person who introduced Carlos to us. And Annette is very active. So there's something around how does that help come together? And then obviously with America, Maureen, and also Canada, and our two lovely ladies in South America and all of your regional chairs, that's another clear community. So it's not separating us, but maybe concentrating and creating a similar event in each quadrant that I can then propose out to the G100 global chairs to come along and listen to our voices and be special speakers as well. So we have a chair in Chile and a chair in Brazil. And, I'm open up to the idea of how we can, and also you have Faraz in America. Faraz is based in Carolina. How can we engage people both across the whole wing, but also in our own region of the world? One of my challenges with Asia is they very rarely come into this time zone because it's midnight now. But I think we can do a different, I know that Bing, who's in Manila, is very forthright, very much out there on the stage, and maybe she can lead that arena more. Malaysia, I'm looking for a chair in Malaysia because I used to live there. But basically, I want us to think about taking ownership, not just of our own region, but our collective regions. Okay, would that be a good idea? And I know our current African members here on the screen are new members, but I did speak with Funza briefly. Funza is one of our original members who's in South Africa. And I know that she will support anything that we might want to collectively do in Africa. And I just want to share that I wished Nima would be here today, but Nima is in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, and she's having a major conference on July the 9th to 11th. And I'm hoping to be there. I was hoping to, I don't know what the travel out of America for me as a green card holder will be. So I'm just being careful about travel, but I would like to be there to represent us and also women entrepreneurs there. So I believe that women entrepreneurs everywhere have the power to change the world. And I'd love your thoughts on that. And then let's have a general discussion. And then after that, I want to share about the website called She Economy. And I'm going to put the link in the chat there. But firstly, I'd love your views on creating these events, which we talked about before. And we just didn't get them because of the, well, it's because of my moving. So I apologize for that, being out of the loop. So your thoughts about how we get our voice out there with an event where we represent each our individual stories. Carmen.
Well, something I was thinking about is in terms of collaboration and connecting with other leaders. I think like on top of an aspirational place to be would be being a part of something like Mind Valley. It's one of the largest platforms for personal development like in the world. It's huge. So if there's a way to connect with the leaders from that organization, and you can actually submit to have a course or be a speaker with Mind Valley, I'll find the link and send it to you. But now you have other people like we're collaborating in, I don't want to say the word using, because you're being a gift and adding value to their organization. And I don't think there's anything like this. And this is an organization of some of the top leaders in the world.
Yes. I know Mind Valley, it's a very powerful book. I agree. I think one of my feeling is that we, as a G100 group, if we can hone a style of event like we talked about a couple of months ago, and then we can use that to then go to a Mind Valley and say, this is what collectively we have. Because we've got some amazing talent now in the group. And I really need to understand each person's message that we can send out there, because we know what the overall message is. How do we hone that when we've got 20 different voices, but maybe there's a dozen of us? Oh, Odette, do you want to just say something?
Yes, I was trying to look to raise my. Are you kidding me?
Okay,
Odette?
well, I don't mind that.
Did you, Odette? Did you want to say something, Odette?
I think she's got busy with something all of a sudden. I don't mind speaking.
Okay, Clara. I mean,
Yeah, so my feeling, and that hasn't really changed. I mean, I suggested it earlier on when we were speaking, but I felt strongly, and I still do, that we create a summit, and we have, 21 speakers from around the world, and each of them being very clear about their message and being interviewed by yourself or by, Viroz, I don't know, or one of us. I still feel a summit is a very powerful way to build an audience very quickly. And they're not that hard to put together, actually. I've done it myself. In fact, I'm going to do one of my own. I'm just building up to it because we've had to do a lot of infrastructure. But I think, you know, that would be a good place to start. But also, I mean, we've touched on it before, but there seems to have been a bit of, I want to say the word apathy, where we talked about creating each of us a 7-minute or a 5-minute video about what we are doing and what our messages are. And maybe we need to have a group think tank and say, look, you know, we want to do this thing. This is the date we're going to do it by. And this is what we need to maybe do some breakout groups where we help each other craft. I mean, I've just been working with a female-founded group in the UK. She's very, very established. And what she's doing is pretty incredible. And, you know, I just was on a meeting on Friday where we did breakout rooms and we were holding each other accountable and helping each other hone our pitch decks, if you like, for funding. So I think we could be doing something more proactive to help us all clarify or get clarity on what it is we're doing. Like as a UK chair, I've been doing a lot of background stuff because there are so many groups in the UK for, you know, helping, and it all feels like we need to put something under an umbrella so that we're including, like we're doing, is the male voices within it. Because when I did the 9-month, that Maureen set that very nicely, those wisdom circles, what came out from talking, do you remember I had male groups and I had female groups, and the men felt just as disempowered in different ways as men. And I spoke to my sons, funnily enough, yesterday, and I'm just gonna, if I can find the book, this is what my son said he's been reading. He is a bit of a philosopher, but he said, the biggest problem we're having now in the world is the disparity of wealth. And the book, or the thing's called Our Lives in Their Portfolios, Why Asset Managers Own the World. I've been doing a lot of research around this subject because it's been a passion of mine since I was a child, you know, since I was a young woman. And you know, I'll send you some links. We can maybe hone it around why there's all this disparity. George Monbiot, who is a free press guy, he said it very clearly that the family has not been included in politics for a number of decades. The poverty rate in the UK is shocking. So God knows what it must be like in other parts of the world. And yet we've got incredibly talented females, incredibly talented males, but we're not pulling together. And I feel like we need to have one voice. And if it causes a revolution in the world peacefully, maybe that's what we need, because it's not changing fast enough in my book. And I feel like I'm getting to the place where I feel like I'm going to get up and start doing a lot of talks very shortly. So I feel like if we're all pulling off the same hymn sheet, if we're all saying as countries, this is the problem, this is the problem, this is how we're going to get over it.
Yes.
Bingo.
So one of the things is that we already started this. So we do have a gap because I was busy. But if you go back to what we talked about the meeting for last, I know that you were there, Clara, and Carmen, you were as well.
Yeah.
And we have started that. And then what we need to do, I know Annette was keen and Nima, we need those. What I see is we go back to see what each person wants to do with their key message. And then we can put that together. And once we've got that, then we can go to other organizations, because that's what I'm seeing is we could then take it to Mind Valley, to the group in England that I belong to with Savitas and in Parliament. We could take it to different groups that I've met when I was up in New York. So that's really, I still want to make it kind of ring fence it around our core message. And then we can take that and put it into different regions of the world. So for instance, you could take that and do it just for America with the regional chairs there. Or we could take it to Africa, or we could start doing a bigger conference. It's almost like a mix and match. Do you see what I mean? Because the other thing I'm thinking about it, who is the audience? Who is coming to listen? We want to make sure it's a significant audience who actually hears our message. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's why a summit is a really great way. I mean, I don't know if anyone's done a summit here before, but it's a great way of building very rapidly an audience, but you've got to direct them somewhere. And I think that's the key thing is once you've hooked them in, what are we doing with them? What is the objective behind that? You know, what is the end result that we would love to see? Because when I get to the ripe old age and I've been a very emancipated female from the get-go, I've seen at every stage of my life, and it doesn't seem to have changed, where the people fall down into the gaps, you know, and I think as a society, we're failing at every single place in somebody's life. We are failing people. So when they come out of uni, when they become we're talking about women, when they become a mother and they look after their family, you know, and then they become the carers later, they try and get into their work. I think women have a lot more handicaps because when they leave the family and then they become, I don't know, in their late 40s, 50s, and they go into the corporate world, the world that they left when they were at school is a very different world again. And there's record numbers, as we know, of women leaving the corporate world. So, and then women are in poverty by the time they get to 60, 70 or 80, unless they're married. And that's a fact. I've got all the stats on that. I've been doing a lot of research. And I think we need to say, we've all had enough of this. We want to shift the system big time. And I think how we're doing it, as you say, Pauline, ring netting it. But I think we've got to get really strategic now. I think we've got to make a big noise that people go, we need to listen to this group because they're actually got some really good ideas.
Yes.
And they're doing something about it. They're not sitting on their laurels.
Yes.
And they've got 20 countries
but that's
all talking off the same page.
Yes. But that's what I'm saying the same thing. What I wrote in there is that I need each person to hone their particular aspect that she started a couple of months ago. Once we got the pieces, then I see no problem in the platforms that we can share it with, because that's what I'm doing, like across the G100 global chairs. So just remember, we're one wing. So I'm involved with the other wings, and they're putting out different things. There's a lady in Malaysia who's been doing a 100-day scope right up to an event she's running in June. And every day, every week, she's got other wings coming in together. Because I'm on that group, I can take what we do into there. Also, this website called She Economy, which I'm going to put the link in here. This is like, let me just find.
The other idea is a podcast, our own unique podcast.
Well, that's the other thing is that let me just put this here. She economy.in is actually that is a website. Let me see if I can find it on here. I had it to show you. But basically, this is like the equivalent of a Facebook, but it's designed by G100, not only for G100 people, but for women across the whole world. So one can use that to actually connect to women across the world and all the G100. So I only just found out about it properly, but I can organize a session with the lady who runs this in Delhi called Panel. and Pinal, and she will help us get on there. But essentially, if you use Facebook or any platform, it's very similar. Thank you, Carmen. It's you put your profile up, but you can also sell your services, sell your products. You can put all sorts of things up there. It's free. You can sell your products. And I haven't explored all the back end because I only just met it last week. But essentially, they're wanting to get more and more people into there. Now, we can have our own group in there, but also if we design our event, we can promote our event through into that network. And we'll get support from head office. And so there are things changing there. So I think the thing for me is what I typed in there was just my script that I actually put together with the help of ChatGPT. But, you know, what is the key message? Essentially, and I agree with you, Clara, is like, how do we co-parent the world? And I don't mean that we have to be parents, but how do we bring the masculine and feminine together to bring together those strands and stop the entanglement? And I think if we have, I said 7 to 15 minute type talks, you know, TED Talks are 15 minutes, but probably around somewhere between 7 and 15 minutes. And each person who wants to speak targets their specific message, and we hone that. And then we put either a huge summit together. My only resistance to huge summits is I get fed up when there's 18 speakers. I get tired. I think we could do a regular one of fewer speakers and then do it more regularly and get people to come. Those of you who remember my wisdom circles, it was during COVID, so people didn't have anything else to do and they turned up. But people will turn up to something they want to be at. So if we could build the momentum, as opposed to just having one big event, we start building the momentum and we say, we have these amazing 27, 30 with Free Wise When. We've got this amazing group of 30 people, all have a specialist talent, all have a view on this and the solutions based, as Carmen said. And then we can take our list of speakers and hone that into podcasts. I was recently on a podcast called Why Women Rise. And anybody who wants to be a speaker on that, just let me know and I'll connect her. But if we set up a summit type thing, or as Maureen said, a weekly podcast, a weekly something, then we can connect out to these other groups. I belong to a few networks and we need to maximize those. What I need to know is what we started a couple of months ago, which obviously not everybody, it was here then, but we worked on what was your key message? What was Carmen's key message? What Clara's key message? With a kind of sexy title. What we worked on, so that Carlos and Odette and Natalie was, what is your specialist harmony? So I'll give you an example. Annette's was corporate harmony. Somebody else was family harmony. Somebody else was domestic harmony. You know, I can't remember what yours was, Carmen, whether it was entertainment harmony. But we just did that as a way of almost having a checklist of where harmony ends up. Where's that full agenda? Obviously, entrepreneurial harmony. What does that then mean? What would you put into your 7 to 12 minute to 15-minute section? And then we could actually almost put that out there as a menu. Because that's what, yeah.
I think it was good to really talk into as well. I mean, just thinking out loud here. I think there's an appetite at the moment for truth-telling, for really speaking into really juicy aspects of everyday life that people are experiencing difficulty with. You know, and they're quite big key topics. I mean, I'm happy to list some of those as ideas, as bullet points, but I think they're things that I think people want to know how to have harmony exercise harmonious
Yes,
discussions with. And I think because there's been so much, I mean, in the work that I do as an energy healer, I see how many people are so distorted because they haven't actually ever been able to express themselves. They have
yeah,
been diminished by their culture, by their religion, by their family. You can name whatever it is. And we've had people on in these groups that have talked about, you know, how they've been, or other groups I've certainly talked on, how they've been diminished. And that's had an impact. But we are, I believe, as a humanity, we are evolving, whether the systems of the world realize it or not, we are evolving at a very rapid state, and
right,
people want to have those kinds of conversations now. They don't want to mess about anymore. Life has become very fragmented and fractured for a lot of regular everyday
yes,
families, and they haven't got time to mess about. So if we're going to do anything, I think it's got to be incredibly impactful, which I believe we've got the talent here to do.
yes. Well, as I say, if we broke it down, if each one of us had that key message, the title,
Mm,
and then we put that together, so we've then got the parts to it, then we putting it out there. I still think it needs to be in different time zones so that we make sure we capture all the parts of the world. But you could almost take
yeah.
it's almost like having your mini TED talk about what it is you feel is
Mm,
really important in this subject matter. And then in many ways, it's similar to what G100 did with the Elagossi. So that
yes.
Elagossi document was accumulation of all the different global chairs. And you've got to remember
Mm,
there's nearly 100 global topics which
mm,
are totally different to ours. So if you go back to the list, you know, they're about
mm,
human rights, they're about uh, advocacy, all sorts of things.
mm,
So my plea to all of you is that we focus on positive, authentic harmony and positive masculinity. What does that mean to you? What is the outcome you want to speak about? How do we make
mm,
that a topic that has a solution to it? It's got an aha headline, it's got a message, and it's got a potential solution. And we could post all of this into the She Economy equivalent to Facebook website and use that because I discovered that at the moment it's not as big as it could be. That's why, although it's, I think that launched a couple of years ago, it hasn't been really expanded. They've now got a dedicated person who's going to expand it. So she's there to help us if we need to put something special up. But
I'm
essentially,
speaking from my gut.
it's going out to women everywhere.
Mm. If I'm
And
going to speak truthfully from my gut, you know, she economy is great, but we are not just about she, we're about he and
no,
she.
I agree, but it's another place like Mind
Mm,
Valley or
mm,
Sabotage or whatever. We can take
yeah.
our units of content. That's what I'm looking at, and I love your thought on that. But if we have those units of contact, we can actually mix and match them in different ways. We've got the potential of 30 different messages from our own group. Not everybody is going to do one. Therefore, if we've got 15 out of that, then we've got those 15 topics. We've got a very good,
Mm.
what do you call it? It's not a menu, speakers list. And
Just have
then
an idea.
potentially we could invite other people into that. I mean, I was telling Carmen, I met a film producer who's in LA, who I'm going to introduce you to, Carmen. I've been meeting amazing women in all the other G100 groups that I would also invite in. But I think we need to hone our message individually first. Maureen.
Mm.
Dr. Pauline, thank you so much for all you're doing. And I see that it is not so easy for us to be able to get ourselves together as to what we really want to do. And I have to say that I need to get more involved with the group here from the United States to find out what
Yeah,
is it, what our main messages are,
Yeah.
And how do we want to get engaged? This is a very challenging topic that we are addressing: authentic harmony and positive masculinity. And getting to know ourselves and what we do and how we want to represent this to our environment is very important to get clarity around that. And I think it's the clarity that is lacking mostly from me bringing the women together and finding out where exactly do they feel strong enough or prepared enough, empowered enough to be able to share from their own experiences and also from what they really want to, what we really want to see and how we want to really posit ourselves as a group. So I think getting clarity on that, and this is where I have to provide more leadership to the group that I have. And I ask myself, am I able? Do I have the bandwidth? And yes, I am. I just have to make the time. But what I'd like you to do for me, Dr. Pauline, since you have recruited a number of the ladies on the USA side, they are more attached to you. And so together, you and I would have to come together with them and see if you can
Yes.
help me to bring us together as a USA group, because they're looking to you for leadership or versus looking to me. And that can always pose a problem when there is, them more attached to the person who invited them to be a part of the group. So that's one problem. Not a problem, is a challenge. We have to get around that and see how you and I could bring the USA group together so that we will be able to see in what area we can make an impact, because this is a really large group. That's my request to you to help me with that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the first stage, because Carmen is amazing. You always turn up, which is fantastic. I know Lucas is really keen. Ritu's been, I know she's at a TED talk today. I know she's keen. I don't know about the others, so we need to find out. Maybe Carmen, you can help as well. Just bring the America chairs together, and maybe find out what everybody is thinking.
Yeah.
Similar issues in Africa, because Odette and Natalie are here today, and I think what I'll do is if I email the African chairs together so that you can then have conversations as well about what's happening in Africa. And I know all the countries are different. It's not just one country, but let's get a feeling. It's like with our two chairs in South America. Maybe Carlos, you can help me there as well. We have Carolina in Chile and Rosa in Brazil. And again, I'm not assuming that South America is all the same, but to help us to gather that together. We have a chair in Canada who hasn't been for some time, and maybe we can gather her into the US group. And Annette and Clara, I'm kind of grouping Europe, and obviously Carlos, you're also in Europe. And Lulu, Yu is in Europe. Agatha is in Poland, and maybe you could approach her. We haven't seen her at any meetings. I will also help you with that. But looking for other countries to also support what's happening in Europe, for women, not what's happening in Europe per se, what's happening with women and men, how we're going to bring these actions together. And I will introduce you to the Women Entrepreneur Platform that I met in New York, because they're based in Brussels and Holland and Italy. Okay. So I was just trying to break down the whole world group into areas to help it become easier to manage. Does that make sense to those of you listening? I know, Odette, you're new and Natalia, you're new in Africa. But I want everybody to want to be here. I don't want to force people to do anything. So what I'm suggesting is go into your heart and understand what your message is. If you could save the chat so that you've got that script. I'm not saying that's the absolute script, but it was just something that I felt addressed the issue of, and when I put in that script co-parenting, I don't necessarily mean husband and wife. I mean us co-parenting the generations that are around us, and how we actually factor in our specific focus on harmony. Annette, you're new in here today, not new, but new in here today. I want to thank you for bringing Carlos to us. This is wonderful. And also for being so active in what you're doing. I appreciate you. Do you want to say anything about your raison d'etre for being here in this group?
Oh, yes, there are many reasons why I'm here. And yeah, to be honest, when I was just following the discussion, I was asking myself if it makes more sense to, let's say, to have first something in general before we really go into the groups on the different continents. Because normally when I talk about our group, and I think, yeah, maybe Carlos, you can add to this. I had the impression when I told you, Carlos, about our group, about authentic harmony and positive masculinity, that I had the impression that you found this quite interesting. And yeah, so the question is, how are we going to kind of transport this message to more people? I don't know if for other groups it's easier to transport the message and to understand what they are doing. I really don't know.
Thank you, Annette. Because we've all got different views, although we're all got similar views, this is where I need to, and we started this a couple of months ago, is just to know what your individual
Yes.
was.
We need
Carlos,
to,
would you agree?
yes, we need to establish the common grounds, because I was following Clara, and I really deeply felt a lot what she was saying. I'm not here to fix any system. I'm completely anti-systemic. So in that sense, it's not for me. It's not a question of fixing a broken, rottens. I can go and this is my work. I'm here to transform. I don't use the word change because it's scare a lot of people. So I use the word conscious transformation. Again, and I think conscious transformation is about the human focus. And within that, what Claire was saying resonated with me tremendously. In the state of mind of people. People don't believe anymore about what is going on in the Vatican, what is going on in government, what is going on. I mean, the word peace have disappeared from universities, from think tanks. No one talk about peace. So peace from within, as I said before, authenticity have to come from within. Love have to come from within. So we need to find the common grounds. Otherwise, we will get very dispersed. For example, the word that I was really disputing as an economist myself, I don't call it economics, I call it egonomics. Yes, so no she economics, but then I went from economics, which is a pseudoscience. So we need to be very careful in trying to fix pseudoscience into something that to go beyond the scientific dogmas. Inflation, for example, is an instrument of power, but people think inflation is just another tremor, is another. They don't go deep in understanding who, and this is your son, Claire. I love to meet with him. Really, I love to meet with him.
He's a philosopher. He's a very deep, intelligent young man.
Yeah.
And he sees it very clearly. I'd love you to talk to him.
Yes. So this is what I'm kind of work a lot in, deconstructing the mind, because I was wrong. I will share something with you, because my kind of work on mental slavery. So the issue was mental health, digital mental health, to be more specific. And then the word health come from the industrial revolution.
Mm.
Well-being, yes. So we're now working on physical well-being, mental well-being, emotional well-being, spiritual well-being. Yes. So the authenticity have to do with going much deeper than just the issue of gender, for me anyway. So so I'm not here to fix system. I want to be very straight, very direct. I'm not fixing anything because I am anti-systemic. The system is rotten, the system is collapsing, the system is broken, the system is lying, etc., etc. So,
Mm.
as I mentioned to you, Pauline, I work in the 1990s with the most successful women entrepreneur in the West, the
Yes.
owner of the body shop, Claire. I was her right hand side and her left hand side. She already called me a professor at the time. I said, our company is becoming complacent, is becoming involved in the comfort zone. We are going to disappear. Yes.
Yeah.
I said that to her very clearly. I wrote papers. I mean, I am still keeping my assessment and my recommendation that we needed to transform even the most progressive company of the time. Um, so just to share that with you, Claire, because the system is rigged. You know, when we look at about inflation,
Exactly.
in,
No, I'm with it.
interest rate. I'm just
Yeah.
purely addressing economic issue. These are fabricated crises, and the
Yes.
crisis benefit
I am with you
very few
completely.
people.
Yeah.
I've been saying it for decades, and I am
Yes.
a bit of a seer, and I see patterns and I see stuff, and I'm just a silly girl, so what do I know? But it's terrible, and that's what I'm saying. We need to the
We need,
male group that I talked to and the female groups, the males were completely on board with this. They were
yes.
like, yes. But what I really wanted to share was how about this as an idea? Because I completely get where you're coming from, Carlos, and I'm a transformational catalyst. That's what
Yeah.
my real gift is that. But what I wanted to share was how about this idea? And it does involve some investment, Pauline. But I noticed there are some fantastic deals around. Ionis are doing a fantastic website deal. Why don't we all chip in as a monthly cost? Because I have a feeling that we're all passionate about this, and create our own platform with a very strong video and really talk into where we're coming from. We can even break it down into the generations, because I don't know, do you know Peter Cook, Pauline? Have you heard of
Um,
him? Okay, well,
I,
anyway, he's doing a group
Peter,
where he wanted to rejoin Brexit, but there's a young man that's got a big following as well. He's going to help me get the men involved, because there's a very angry, and I'm sure it's all around the world, there's a lot of very angry, disassociated males, because as Carlos has said, and we all realize the system is so broken beyond. And I think what we will do here as a group is really give some positive focus on something completely different that no one's even thought of before. And that's what I'm excited about. That's why I joined the group, because I
yeah,
felt my
no,
little antennae went, whoa, yeah, this is more in resonance with what
yeah,
my work is about. So I feel that we could have something very exciting with some tweaks here and there. I think we had the basis of something wonderful when we were doing the wisdom circles. And what
Yes.
came out of all those discussions, I think, were very clear. Well, they were for me anyway, versus the men and the women.
Yeah. I just want to honor, I agree. It is about making things, creating a new world. I just want to honor Odette's hand. She was, I think you wanted to speak earlier, then you lost the internet and came back. Odette.
Yeah, I wanted to speak and I just what I'm listening to all of you and I'm thinking, how do this or how do we apply it to Africa, specifically Ivory Coast? Because there the realities, um, the beliefs are different. So how do we package that to make it attractive enough for people to be interested, for men and women to be interested and want to be in a room? And how do we make such a positive impact? And it makes actual difference because being in Africa for the past few months, there people are on the see it and believe kind of thing. So I'm thinking, how do we package it to make it effective and really see results from it? So earlier, what I was trying to say was when you were asking about the how do we get our voices out there? So I was thinking about a traveling G100 summit. So a summit that will go from different places and you know same message, maybe a little bit tailored to where it's going to be, and just have a traveling, G100 summit.
Well, I
Mhm,
agree. That's kind of what I was thinking about. I wasn't separating the regions to make them separate,
mhm.
but we could then create the complete traveling show because
Right.
those time zones are so different.
Mhm,
So for instance, if we know what each person in our group wants to say, and we can test that out with ourselves, make sure that the messages are conscious and complementary, then we put them together because situationally it will be different in Africa. Situationally, it will
yes.
be different in South America or UK.
Mhm,
So we can then take it down to Australia, but we need to know what the component parts are. So we could
mhm,
have kind of a traveling menu, and then when we take it down to Australia,
mhm,
but Odette's on it and Carmen's on it and Annette's on it. So we've immediately got three different um, continents represented. And that's what
mhm.
I see. It's almost like a matrix that we can then apply different places. I do
Right.
quite a lot of speaking on an Indian time zone. So it starts when I'm asleep, and I always get the last slot because it's when I wake up.
Mhm,
That's what it's like when you're talking about time zones. Not
mhm.
everybody will be awake for each one, but we could then take that and put it in somewhere else. Carlos,
Yeah, briefly to follow on Odette, I love what she said. Odette, I work a lot in Africa. Uh,
Mm,
I work with the General Secretary of IGAD. IGAD
mm,
is the intergovernmental agency for Ethiopia, Somalia, Uganda, Kenya, Djibouti, etc. Yes. So
mhm,
I did share with them, which come from also from South America, that we need to develop our own endogenous solutions. So
mhm,
yeah,
the critical thing is African challenge with African solution.
mm,
We share that in Latin
mm,
America. I am I was nominated by the Council of Science and Technology of Mexico exactly for that reason, because as I mentioned when I introduced myself, in terms of our ancient wisdom, our ancient cosmology was removed, was erased, our voice were silenced, we became voiceless, etc., etc., etc. So
mm,
um, uh, in that sense, Odette, anytime you need my help or my support, I'm here for you. In the
mhm,
sense, that I work a lot with my African student. I supervise. I just received a very nice little WhatsApp message from one of the students I'm supervising her thesis on artificial intelligence and international relations, which is to do with a video that I sent Natalie about my dear president of Burkina Faso. So more than ever before, we need to recover our voice. We need to develop our endogenous. As we do that everywhere, then we find the common grounds in respect of what is going on in Africa, what is going on in Europe, what is going on in Latin America, what is going on in Asia, what is going on in Arabia. So this for me is crucial now in terms of the multiple perspectives, the positive contributions that are going to come out. What in cinema, I developed this was for Africa as well, Odette, a dialogue platform. It is a platform of dialogue, Clara. So I agree with you. We need to have a platform, but this platform is to dialogue between ourselves and anyone that want to get access to the platform. Yes, that's I only want to say that I really support Odette thinking behind the concept of developing endogenous solution on the whole question of belief system, value system, ethical system, moral systems, etc., etc. Thank you. I will stop there.
Well, what I was thinking is we do have a YouTube channel, which we haven't populated enough yet, but now we've got more chairs, so we've got 30 persons. Not everybody's active, but I really need your key message to be there so we can always post that out, and then we can populate our summit, or we could populate different traveling shows. I understand what you mean, Clara, but to be honest, I think we've all got so many things going on. Using current platforms as opposed to spending more money and doing another one. At the moment, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
What I want to know is I want to hear what your TED Talk, the equivalent of the Authentic Harmony and Positive Masculinity, Carmen TED Talk, Annette TED Talk, what is that key message? Then we can actually brainstorm, how do we put these together for a big summit? And then I think if we could save the chat, look at the ideas, come back with that, we can then brand the whole thing. I can push it out on the G100 global networks because the new president, Odette Valera, is very keen on action. And that's what I've been watching on the other global chairs. And I've been dying to get our poster out with our pictures on and the key lines, but I need to know what your 7-minute, 15-minute TED Talk is. Key title, what is the hook? What's the key message? What do you want to do? How do you want to have that placed? And if we have the idea of authentic harmony, positive masculinity, joint custody world, your harmony, our themes flowing in a river of consciousness to change the world, to transform the world, to, as Carlos said, what does the future look like? That's what I always ask people, what does the future look like if you have nothing to do with the past? What is your ideal scenario as men and women of different generations and different tasks? I've been working with these young people in Tanzania, and they're amazed that even just the idea that they can think for themselves and do things differently to the way it's always been told, that is something they really resonate with. That's what we want to do. We want our point of view and also to listen to others. So also, I know Natalie is not here anymore, but getting the ideas from younger generations. Half the world is under 30. We need to attend to that. Half the world is over 30. Half the world is female, half the world is male. But we the mixture, it's always about the mixture of masculine and feminine, male and female, young and old, different nations. And I think the situational thing is very important, understanding what the consciousness in a culture is and how that is potentially limiting or releasing the opportunities. So would you do that, each of you, is to format your equivalent TED talk for this subject matter? And then we talked about it 2 months ago, so we have got a framework, and I'll email out to you those things that I've just been typing in the chat there. And there is a special technique to TED Talks, which I haven't studied totally. I've got a book on it somewhere, but it's got to be short and punchy. And if you can do your own video, and I'm happy still to do the interviews that I did with Annette. It was still the only one that we did, but I'm happy to do those now that I've moved house. And we were doing that, Carlos, and putting it up on our YouTube channel. But at the moment, we haven't got enough on our YouTube channel to really put it out to subscribers. So it's all chicken and egg, you know. We have to build the building blocks. And then we can hone that special message and take it out to somebody like Mind Valley. Yes, absolutely. And that's my goal. My mission is to connect all the lighthouses across the world. So we have come to time, and I wondered if maybe you each wanted to just offer a couple of words as to how you feel at the moment about this group. I'm going to ask Odette. As you're new here, you're the only newcomer here. Oh no, Carlos is the only new woman.
I feel good. I feel because like I said, my mission is to give a voice to these women. And I was writing down when you said what the future looks like. It's an important question that I want to answer too. So I wrote it down. But to answer your question, I feel good. I feel good. I feel like here we can learn, and not only learn, but also get the support that we need to drive those to drive that message in our own areas. So I am actually looking forward to that. Like they said, I want to finish by saying there's no successful men and women, but there's supported men and women. So your success is due because you are supported. And then I think that's what this group is going to bring to each of us. So I'm excited.
Well,
Thank
I
you.
think that's lovely. I just caught that line, give a voice to women who can't be heard. That could be
Yeah,
your textbook.
absolutely.
Okay, Annette.
Yes, and
Annette.
that's it. That's it.
Okay, Annette.
How honest do you want me to be?
Sorry, what was that?
How honest do you want me to be?
Oh, you're
Very.
always honest, Annette, so that's okay.
Like a typical German. So at present, I really love our wing. And at the same time, my German brain, body, I don't know what is, it's not moving in the direction of results. For me, it's more like talking and talking and talking. Sorry for being this honest. And for me, it would be better to really kind of have a goal. I know that the goal with the common event at the end of March, that wasn't possible. Yeah, and at the same time, yeah, so now I don't know if we had the idea to do it another time. And I have to admit, for me, somehow the words authentic harmony and positive masculinity, those are words for me, and I have an idea what can be meant with it, and at the same time I can't feel it. So what I can feel is, and I relate much to the words of transformation, because that's really what's going on now, and the decline of hierarchies and the increase of being more on the same level, men, women, bosses and let's say, I don't know how it's called in English, the people who clean the rooms. Yes, so there will be more equality, what we call harmony, and somehow it would help me to have a clearer idea of this. So, but I haven't yet found the words for it. Because what really is missing for me is something like, okay, yes, we can, we go and we do it, and we'll kind of not conquer the world, but we'll contribute our share. That's somehow missing for me.
Okay. Well, have a think about what it is you would want to say. And I think we did look at that before. So anyway, it sounds like the Nike thing. We just need to do it. I agree. Carmen, what's your one line?
It has to do with writing a new narrative.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay.
Mhm.
Clara, what's your one line?
I haven't got a one line at the moment. I'm going to have to dig into it a little bit.
Okay.
I think everything will evolve. I mean,
Okay.
because the dynamics of transformation now is such a scale, as Clara was vividly exposing. So the language will change for me. The quality of the actions will change, but it depends on us. This is the whole thing.
Yeah.
Is the inner transformation, and I always say you asked me, and I share today with another scientist when you asked me the question, is Mother Earth giving us messages? And I say, why do you think
Yes.
that Mother Earth have to give you messages? Why you don't listen to yourself and assume the responsibilities?
Yes.
And I think this is about assuming that authentic responsibility, if I could say it using now authentic, the word authentic, which is a conscious responsibility. And I think we will evolve. I mean, I'm pretty sure that we will evolve because of the conversation that are taking place all over the world. When I go to
Absolutely.
Latin America, and Annette, I'm very close to Annette. She think I'm more German than she is sometimes. Very direct, and I was very direct earlier on.
Yeah.
So I think we will evolve, and it's the whole dynamics. We'll get into a situation where we need to be very open. We need to be very curious about listening each other.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll leave it there.
Well, Ian,
I
I'd like
think
to
that's
add something.
Sorry.
I would like to add something because
Yes.
it's kind of when I was listening to the discussion. So for me, it will help me to, let's say, start this online thing that we had planned for the end of March and to really have a fixed date. And I'm really very fond of taking imperfect action. So, and even if we are, let's say, only, I don't know how many we were, Clara, you had set together kind of the schedule for this event, and to really start with what we have. And
Yes.
I also would love, and that's difficult for me to say because I've already done it. I really would love to have kind of a commitment of more members to do the interview with you, so that
Yes.
we have more on YouTube. And yeah, so maybe that's what somehow I'm missing a little bit, maybe the commitment. And at present, I really don't know what else I can do. And yes, I will be speaking. I have been speaking in Portugal, you know this, and I have a title
Yes.
for this, I have another title. So you can always ask me and I will do it. And
Yeah.
at the other hand, if I'm still being very honest, if I'll be the only one speaking, it doesn't help us. Sorry to say it like this.
Absolutely. And, the last two months has been a wipeout for me because and a miracle move. I can't believe how much I've actually got done in the last 2 months. So that's why that didn't happen in March. It was absolutely exhausting, but it's done.
I must really now deeply thank you because I just invented a new word.
Transform action. Transform action.
Transform action. I say it's a M missing. Transform action. Yeah, great. So that got it.
It's like my one, which is women empower men as opposed to women empowerment.
Yes,
I
transform
think that's
action.
that's important. And the thing is that, as I said, the transformation in my own life has been extremely significant. In the middle of my move, I went to New York for 4 days, and that was exhausting and exciting. And the only thing I can say is never go to New York on Frontier, because it's the most exhausting aeroplane ever to be on, especially if you go overnight and arrive at 6:30 in the morning, and then there's a traffic jam and you get into New York at 10:30 straight into a meeting. Anyway, it was a very exhausting few weeks. But everything is happening, and there's a lot happening around the world that we can tap into. So going back to where we were 2 months ago, I agree. And it's frustrating, but I just need those bite-sized pieces, and then we can get going, and the interviews. So as much as you can, help me to encourage everybody to do that. We nearly got it together, didn't we, Carmen? We organized a date and then it didn't happen. But just let me know your diary and we can do it, and I can post it up on YouTube.
Yeah. Can we
and get
set a
that
date
momentum
then? Shall
going.
we say, shall we give us a date, which is realistic? Because as Maureen said earlier, a lot of us have got other commitments. But if we have a date that we do it by, then I think that will mean, what goes in goes in.
Yes and no. I think I need to just. I mean, if it's going to be, you're talking about the big event.
No. Talking about these bite-sized pieces so that we've got our headline.
If everybody can do an interview by the end of May and get their 15 minutes, then we can put it together. But everybody has to do it, and I need your help to organize people, to pressurize them to do it, because I also can't do all of it.
So what about, can I make a suggestion then? What about if we have a couple of online meetings where we just purely focus on helping each other get clarity on what we're saying? That might help get the energy moving. I'm a great believer in collaboration and support of each other.
Well, this is one of the reasons I thought possibly it could be in regions, because then you've got ease of time zones and also situations like in Africa or Europe, different time zones, it would help. But that, yeah, so doing the logistics. I mean, the reason I make this 9 o'clock here, I could make it 8 a.m. I met Carlos the other day at 7 a.m. As the days get lighter, I don't mind getting up earlier.
You want
But
in or out, babe?
it's just often it's logistics. I would say if we can get some of these pieces together, the other thing is putting a drive together.
To go ahead and schedule it. So I can stay on. I have an absolute hard out at 11, but if we wrap this up and you have like 2 minutes, then we can schedule our time to do the YouTube interview today.
Yes. Well, let's do that with you and Carmen, because I also want to introduce you to this lady in LA. So it's a matter of, I've got a diary. I mean, I've got a scheduling, but I'm going to be away on Monday because I'm actually going to have a little procedure. So I will be back into real time on Tuesday.
Excuse me.
So, and we're on the same time zone at Carmen, so that makes life easier. Okay, so for now, let's get all these pieces together by the end of May. Every single
I really love this idea, and I also agree with you, Pauline, as to meeting by continent. The only piece that's missing for me is what is the objective of these meetings. That's not what so far I haven't a clear idea in my head. So I would love to meet with everyone from Europe. That's a wonderful idea. And at the same time, I always need a little bit of a goal, even though, Carlos, I agree with you that everything is in movement, and at the same time, I think it's also good to maybe have the goal to have a common idea or to make a proposal, something like this. Yes.
Well, the goal is to get our voice out there, to get the voice out there on your specific, like for instance, you were said about corporate harmony. What is the key message that drives your view of corporate harmony?
Okay.
Lucas wanted to do leadership harmony. So focus on what that means. What's the sexy title underneath it? What is like we had Odette said, being the voice, what did I write? Give a voice to women who can't be heard. What is the key message? And then what would be in your piece of that? So that would then be part of a summit or part of an interview, or maybe a 7-minute piece we can put up where you're just talking to screen and that goes on the YouTube, and then we can push it out. We haven't got a reference point at the moment to bring people together. So when I reference our group, I send the link, which is on G100. So on G100, there's a link for me, there's a link for all the chairs, and I'm trying to get all the regional chairs bannered up as well. So I've asked Ellie if they will produce a banner for regional chairs, because at the moment they haven't been doing that. So I don't have the branding to do the banners, like the one that turned up for Carlos and Odette, and it's all done by G100 headquarters. So I would like to get the regional chairs in America to have their own banners. And then that makes it easier when we put them out onto events.
Yeah. So sorry I would just like to come back to the idea with the continents. And so what I've just written down is to get the voice out. What does this mean for us in Europe? So
Yes.
I could imagine to have a meeting like this with everyone who is in Europe, and then to kind of have a brainstorming, and then bring this idea that we have developed together to bring it to the group, and the same for Africa, and the same for the States, and the same maybe also for South America. And I could also imagine that it's a good idea to not to find something in common, but to maybe have these different kind of spots. So in Europe, this is important now. In South America, it's something else. Maybe in Africa, something else as well. And have these, even though those might be pieces like maybe a jigsaw, but to leave it as a jigsaw and not try to unite it. And then from this to develop something that we can share, or with which we can support other women in their daily efforts to really realize more authentic harmony and positive masculinity. Does this make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And in Europe, when I say Europe, I'm including the UK, and also looking for other chairs, Agatha, and also Diane Monique, who is, although she's from Benin, she's our chair for France. And I believe she's in France at the moment. So she's on the WhatsApp group, but if you haven't got her direct number, I'll connect you. So we've got France, Poland, Germany, England. That's right, yes. So maybe we can find somebody in Ireland. That would be good. And I think we could find somebody in Holland easily, because one of the ladies I met at the United Nations thing was from Holland, and she's fabulous. So she might join. I will connect with her. So I think there is a plan. It's like these building blocks, and then we'll put the whole thing together. Does that make sense to everybody? Excellent, and you can help guide. I did send an email to Feroz and you and you, Carlos, but I don't know whether anybody of them got together with you. It would be good for you to meet with Feroz and you. And you is in England. He's in Horsham.
Yes. I met
So,
him already. Annette introduced me
oh,
to
you
him.
met him.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. And Feroz he's a great guy, and he's on the East Coast, so it's not quite so far apart in terms of time zones. So maybe you would take that responsibility on, Carlos, to get the guys together. So you're on the same plot, and then we'll all come together. So the last Saturday of the month, we always aim to have just this.
I told you, Pauline, I get better with women than men. That's what
Oh, I know, but
I told you my stories with the board of directors of the body shop.
Absolutely. But remember, you're all our special men. You're all philosophers. You're all wise and gentle. So that's okay. Anyway, all of you, it's now 10:54 and time to go and get my coffee.
Okay. Have a lovely weekend.
Yes, and really good to meet you. Thank you for being here. I'll hang on and sort out a date with you, Carmen, but let me just close.
So here for you, my tulip. I bought them from Holland. You see?
Oh, that's lovely.
Annette, love how honest you are. It's appreciated. So thank you for not shying away from that and speaking honestly.
Thank you. Thank you. I have last question. When did you meet? Is it now about nearly 2 hours, or is it 1 hour now?
No,
we met at 9 o'clock.
We have done now nearly 2 hours.
Yes.
Because I had read 7 p.m. Central European time, and that's why I logged in only at 7. Oh,
no, it was 5 p.m. It was 9 a.m. Pacific.
Never mind. Next time I'll check better. So I'm sorry that I joined only that late. Okay. So thank you, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Odette, for being here. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.